Okay, what I'm about to do is I'm going to film the water drainage that's doing property damage to my mother's house. Right now I'm sitting outside of her house on the steps. The dog here in front of me, and right here's the gate of her house. I'm going to walk out the gate and walk towards the right, and I'll start right here in this area where this retainer wall is. I can show you the water coming out there, and then I'm going to go on up top of the hill here where that white car is sitting and show you the water that's coming out of that alley there, running across the property there right beside the car, and then comes across and takes out the retainer wall that you're looking at right here. And then it's going under her house on that side of the house and doing property damage to her home. So with that said, let's move out this way now. Coming down the steps, sidewalk, coming up the sidewalk here beside her house. This is my mother's house here, and right here's in front of her house. This is her front yard. Over here is outside the gate, outside the fence. You can see the water running off the sidewalk here, that it's coming out of a drain right here. Okay, now that drain, of course, is the drain that was put in, sort of a French drain that was put in for this retainer wall that runs all along the side of my mother's house here. Okay, now you see where the water is coming out here, where the drain's not proper, and it's washing down the sidewalk and then out into the street where it goes down the road in front of my mother's house. Okay, now coming back up, going back up the hill, you see all this sidewalk is just collapsing. This piece of property right beside my mother's house, here's the side of my mother's house. This is a piece of property that my mother also owns, that used to be a house here, and it burnt down years ago. And all this property here used to be completely flat, but now there's mounds in the middle of the yard and stuff like that, where the water is actually running off of this road up here, coming down through her yard and washing across the yard where it's got mounds right there, and then it's washing down over the wall here, and it's washing out this retainer wall right in that area, and it's going down underneath the house, and it's causing her house to settle. Okay, so walking up here, I'll show you exactly where it's taking place. Well, first of all, we'll stay on the sidewalk, and you can see here's a drain here in the middle of the road, but then here's water running off of this street. Okay, comes down this street, around this car here, and it comes into this here, drains into this drain here. So you can see that better like this. The water's coming off of this street up here, and this is called Orchard Street. I'll go up here and get a picture of the sign. Okay, I don't know how clear that is, but that says Orchard Street, and this is Orchard Street here. And you can see right down here again is my mother's house over on that wall, but the water's coming down the road, it's washing across her property behind this car and in front of this car. Okay, it's coming down Orchard Street. It's running behind this car, and it's running down through her yard here, causing silt and stuff to deposit in her yard. See it here again. This is her yard, her property. All of this is washing into her yard. This is her property that she bought. You can see the big silt build up here. And all this water goes underground and it freezes. And it's causing mounds to rise in the yard and stuff here. It comes on across underneath the ground here. And it's causing... Shut up. It's causing all this retainer wall to wash out here. Okay, shut. It's causing all the retainer wall to wash out, collapse. Then as it collapses, it's going underneath the house here, and it's causing the house to settle, the foundation to settle. You can see where the house is sitting right on the ground now over there. It looks like no foundation under it at all. You can see big holes and stuff under it. And then it's causing the roof to buckle. And right here, in this area, in this channel here, is where we've had some leakage in the roof that's coming into the inside of the home, in the bathroom and other areas, and also the dining room wall. All the drywall and stuff is cracking and stuff where the house is settling. Okay, so here's the retainer wall, and I'll get a better shot of this retainer wall in a little bit. But again, you can see where the water's coming down. It runs down the road in this direction, comes all the way down, then the water comes down through her yard here, but it's also coming into her yard right here. So the water's coming down behind this green car and comes down through her yard right here. So it's doing damage to that retainer wall over there as well, as you can see. It's buckling and stuff as well. But right here is the worst of it. It's coming across here, causing mounds in the yard, and coming across and doing damage to her retainer wall. Now let me get a picture of her retainer wall for you. I'll go down into the yard and get a picture of the retainer wall from where it's actually falling from that side, so you can see it better. Again, here's where it's coming out behind the wall down here next to where a drain used to be, and it's running down the sidewalk. But I'm going to step over the fence here so I don't have to walk all the way around. I'm filming, and right here's where it goes. It goes down. Here's the retainer wall that I'm talking about. Now you can see all the brick and stuff that's laying here. You can see where the wall's falling in, that sort of thing. It's all that water is coming from across that yard where I told you it comes straight across here, and it's doing damage to all this retainer wall. See here, and then it runs right across and goes underneath the house and stuff. And you can see that, as you can see, the house sits right on the foundation, sitting right on the ground now. The house is, but it's doing damage to all this back in here as well. Okay.